Jumbo, everybody. My name is Molly, and I'm going to be your safari guide here today in the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now, before we do head out, I have a few quick reminders for you folks. For the safety of the animals and the comfort of those around you, I do ask that everyone on board does not use flashlights or flash photography of any kind. And everyone on board does need to remain seated at all times. That does include your little ones remain seated on your laps. That does include when the truck is stopped as well. Thank you guys so much. That is for your safety. It does get pretty bumpy out there. If you do look above your head, you'll see that animal spotting guide. That will help you recognize some of those animals that we might see out there today. Now, we're probably not going to see them all, but we usually do have some pretty good luck. So definitely do keep your eyes peeled. Now, we are getting started in the Little Aturi Forest. Now, here a lot of the animals do tend to blend in quite well with their surroundings. We have to bear a very special eye out for them on those bushes and trees. Never know what we could see. Well, guys, on our right-hand side, there actually is an okapi. Now, that okapi might look like a zebra because of its hind legs, but it's actually not a zebra at all. It's the only known relative of the giraffe. It eats the same way a giraffe does, by eating leaves off of trees instead of grazing. Its skeletal structure and its skull is the same as well. Now, it has about an 18-inch long tongue. Its tongue is so long, if it wanted to, it could lick its own eyeball. Now, these black and white birds here at the edge of the water, those are the saddle-billed storks. We can actually tell the difference between the male and the female due to their eye color. Males have brown eyes, females have yellow eyes. Now, they do mate for life, so there is a chance that this could be a very happy couple. Now, there are a few rhinos up on top of the hill there, 2 of them actually. Now, these are black rhinos. They do weigh about 3,000 pounds. Now, unfortunately, because of poaching, there's only about 5,000 of black rhinos left in the world. They are poached for their horns. Some cultures do believe that the horns contain medicinal properties, but the sad truth is it's made out of the same material that we find in our hair and in our fingernails, which is called keratin. It's really a shame that these beautiful creatures are being poached for something so extremely common. That's why we have to do everything that we can to help support them. Now, folks, up here to the left, there are 2 different species of animals, the greater kudu and the bongo. Now, the bongos are known as the ghosts of the forest. Those are the darker brown ones. The greater kudu are the lighter brown one. Now, only male greater kudu have 6-foot-long curly horns, so the ones that are light brown are the female greater kudu. Now, they both have those white stripes on their body that do help them blend in with their surroundings. And they will use the shade of the nighttime to travel from place to place, evading their predators. Now, we are entering the Safi River, and the Safi River is home to a few watering holes. The animals like to hang in and around the water, so do keep an eye peeled on the water as we kind of come down the hill here, folks. Now, if you guys do look to the left, there are a whole bunch of Nile hippopotamus inside of the water. Now, hippos are born around 80 pounds. By the time they're 1 year old, they're about 800 pounds. And by the time they're adult, they're about 5,000 pounds. A whole entire group of hippos is called a bloat. Now, on the island there, there's a pink-backed pelicans. They do turn a light shade of pink during the mating season. Hippos will hold their breath underneath the water for about 8 minutes at a time. There's another one a little bit here closer to the right of the island. Now, hippos are actually considered to be one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. They are not carnivorous, but they're extremely territorial. So if anything were to come near its home, it would pretty much stomp all over it. They do use a wheeze honk to communicate as well. It's kind of like a roll call. The most dominant hippo go first, followed by the rest. Looks like there's another one out of the water. Everyone does need to remain seated though, please. Thank you so much. Now, that one is a toddler. It's a little over a year old. So on the left-hand side, guys, these are Nile crocodiles. They're going to be 18 to 20 feet long. That's as long as a giraffe is tall. Just do remember to remain seated as we cross the bridge. Now, those crocs might be a little intimidating. thing, but they actually make wonderful parents. They roll the eggs of their babies in their mouths to help them hatch, and they can actually eat about half of their body weight in one sitting. That's honestly about 250 pounds worth of food. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I could probably eat that much too. A group of crocs on land is called a bask because they bask in the sun. But a group of them in the water, it's called a float. Now guys, it does look like our whole entire ecosystem is about to get a little different up ahead. But to the right-hand side, there is a very different tree. That's called the baobab tree. Now it does look kind of like its roots are up in the air, but it only goes leafless about 9 months out of the year. It's just the branches. Now folks, this has to be my favorite view in the entire reserve. You can see the whole entire savanna from up on this hill, and a lot of the animals too. It is views like this that do remind us why it is so extremely important that we help protect and preserve these animals so they may be around for generations to come. Well, as soon as you come down this hill here, folks, these darker gray animals are called the white-bearded wildebeest. They do have the largest migration in Africa, which is about 1.5 million of these wildebeest. Now, this big gray animal and this big tan animal, these are the Patterson's eland. Now, the big gray one is the male, and honestly, I will say he is a little bit of a ladies' man. So what he will do is he will take his horns and put it into the grass around him to make himself a big grass crown, which he then uses to show off to the ladies. That's right, I know. All of the elands can reach about 8 feet up into the air, which is pretty impressive because they're huge. The largest species of antelope. The male weighs about 2,000 pounds. Now this animal right here to our right-hand side, these are the Ankole cattle. You see those horns are absolutely huge, but they are quite light. They do have a hollow honeycomb design. The cattle can also pump their blood up into their horns to help cool themselves off, almost kind of like a personal air conditioner. Now to the Maasai people of Africa, these cattle are not used for meat or dairy. They're actually used for currency. The more cattle you have, the more wealthy you are. During the day, they are allowed to graze and roam, but at nighttime, they're brought into herd pens called manadas. Now to the left-hand side, guys, on top of the rock den there's actually a few spotted hyenas. Now, a lot of people think the hyenas are scavengers. They steal food, but they do not. They do a lot of their own hunting. Now, a lot of people also think that they're related to dogs, but they are not. They're their very own species. They do have a female-run society as well. So even the lowest-ranking male, or even the lowest-ranking female, has more power than the highest-ranking male. Now, guys, we are going to be coming across a big termite mound on our right-hand side. And that termite mound is made of termite spit, mud, and dung. Larger animals will use it as a scratching post, while smaller animals will use it as a lookout point. And it looks like we're going to come across the whole entire herd of Maasai giraffes. And a few babies, too. Now, giraffes can grow to be 18 to 20 feet tall. It is kind of fitting that a whole entire group of giraffes is called a tower. Now these are the Maasai giraffes. We can tell because of the markings on their body. They're much more jagged compared to the reticulated giraffe, which is rounded. Each giraffe does have its own individual set of markings, kind of like we have our own fingerprints. Now the reason, you guys see a little thing sticking out of their head, those are called ossicones. Baby giraffes have flat ossicones that are fuzzy and made out of cartilage that help mother give birth to a 6-foot tall baby. But as they grow up, it does merge with their skull and become a bony structure. Now over here to our right-hand side, these are the springbok. Now they're only about 3 feet tall, but they are actually quite mighty. They can jump 6 feet straight up into the air and 13 feet forward. When they do it at the same time, it's actually called pronking. And it looks like there is a little bit of a giraffe crossing up ahead. might cause a little bit of a traffic jam. Now, the first thing a baby giraffe learns is the force of gravity. It does face a 6-foot drop from mom when it is born. And the first thing it does learn is, it's kind of like the wake-up call when it does hit the floor there. It does start the breathing and all the rest of the body functions. Now, giraffes' tongues are very, very long. They are about the length of your arm. They're also purple and prehensile, meaning they can wrap around things. They need to reach those leaves off of trees. Now, I have to be honest, guys, if I had to pick any animal to be on the reserve, I think I want to be a giraffe. I'm not even as tall as a baby giraffe. I think it'd be nice to be a little bit taller, but the main reason why is because they eat for 20 hours a day. Now, raise your hand if you want to eat for 20 hours a day. Yeah, I agree. All right, now, the next qualification to be a giraffe is that you only get to sleep for 30 minutes a day. So who still wants to be a giraffe? Oh, there's one taker. Well, being a giraffe does sound pretty cool, but I don't know about you guys. I do like to sleep more than 30 minutes. When they do sleep, they usually do it standing straight up. The only time you really see a giraffe sit is when it feels 100% safe. That's because it does get quite a bit vulnerable when it does sit down, and it's very hard to get back up. And when they do sit, though, they usually keep their necks up in the air because it takes more energy to put the neck down than it does to hold the neck up. Now, speaking of their necks, does anyone know how many bones are in the neck? I'll give you a hint. It's the same amount as us. 7. Very good job, guys. Now, of course, theirs are just a lot longer than ours, though, right? Now, folks, over here to the left-hand side, looks like there's a few African elephants. Now, we can tell that this is the African elephant, not only, well, we are in Africa, but the size of their ears. The ears are a lot larger than the Indian elephants, and theirs almost do look like the continent of Africa. We can also tell by the tusks. Both male and female African elephants have tusks, while only male Asian and Indian elephants have those tusks. Now, baby elephants are pretty cute, but they do not get here too easily. Mama elephant is pregnant for almost 2 years before she gives birth to a 200 to 300 pound baby. Now, elephants do also have a matriarchal society. So what that means is the oldest female is in charge of the entire herd. She is responsible for everything they need to know and where they need to go. Now, to the left-hand side, guys, these are the greater flamingo. There actually is another elephant back there, a few more. Now, these are the greater flamingo. They are the greater flamingo, not because they're the best, but they're actually the tallest. They can grow to be about 5 feet tall. Initially, they are hatch gray, and they do attain that pink color from the food that they eat called brine shrimp. If you see a flamingo standing on one leg, that is to help circulate its blood and regulate its body temperature. The flamingos will alternate between the 2 legs throughout the entire day. Now, male elephants will leave the herd around age 15. Oh my god, guys, look! To the left-hand side, all the way across the way. If you see near the baobab tree, to the left, there's a baby elephant, guys. Wow. We are really lucky today, guys. Oh my goodness gracious. Now, male elephants leave the herd around age 15. If they don't leave soon enough, their mothers will actually kick them out. But don't worry, they don't stay alone for too long because they then form little bachelor groups. And actually, recently, there was a discovery that elephants are only afraid of a few things, but the major thing is bees. They are afraid of bees because they can hear them buzzing from even miles away with how strong their ears are. So, in some farms in Africa, the elephants were taking advantage of open farming and taking food and all that, and the farmers were not happy about that, so unfortunately they did not use the correct means to keep the elephants off of their crops. Until the scientists did discover that they are afraid of bees. So they then made bee fences. So the farmers got a profit off of the honey from the bees. The elephants didn't come near the crops and they were not harmed in any way. And it's just kind of a win-win situation. It's a really good example that if we just do research about these animals, it can really be a win-win situation for everybody. It's a really cool thing too, because you wouldn't expect elephants to be afraid of bees, considering how small they are. Now guys, over there to the left-hand side, there actually are 2 cheetahs up on top of the hill there. Now cheetahs are the fastest land animal. They can run up to 60 miles per hour. They can actually get to that speed within 3 seconds. That's almost as fast as a launch roller coaster. Now there's another one up here that's laying a little bit closer to the edge, a little bit easier to see. Now cheetahs have little black markings underneath their eyes to help reflect the sun, just like an athlete will put black markings underneath their eyes. Cheetahs can't roar. They actually chirp and meow just like normal kitties. A whole entire group of them is called a coalition. And my favorite fact about them is that they're the only species of big cats who can purr. Now speaking of big cats, up ahead guys, that is a Kopi rock formation. Now sometimes you will find lions hanging around on the Kopi watching out for their prey. I actually do spot the male from here. He's up on the very edge of the Kopi. Now during the day the lions can see just as well as us, but at nighttime they can actually see 6 times better. That's why most of the females will usually go out and do all the hunting at nighttime. There's a female with them as well. Now lions will sleep and rest about 20 hours out of their whole entire day. Guess you can say they just spend their days lying around. Now if you do the math, the lions are awake for 20 hours out of every day. Their lifespan is about 20 years. Means they're only awake for about 4 hours out of every day. That means they're only awake for 3 years out of their whole entire lives. Now lions' roars can be heard up to 5 miles away. When all the lions roar together, it is called caroling. The Swahili word for lion is Simba. And does anyone have a guess what the Swahili word for warthog might be? It's actually not Pumbaa. I know, you would think it would be, but Pumbaa actually means foolish one in Swahili, which is perfect for Pumbaa because he is a pretty silly warthog. But the word is actually nigiri. Now guys, to our right-hand side, there are a few Bontabuck and a few Waterbuck as well. The Waterbuck are the larger, shaggy-furred ones, while the Bontabuck is the tinier one. Now the Waterbuck do secrete an oily substance from their skin that help them identify one another. And at a time, there are only about 17 of those little Bontabuck left in the wild. Guys, underneath the tree, there's a few ostrich eggs too. Now, there are only about 17 of those little Bontabuck left in the wild. They were hunted for their furs. When the sun hits it just right, it does emit a purplish sort of color. But thanks to conservation efforts, their numbers are doing so much better. There's about 1,000 of them now. But unfortunately, you can only find them on protected reserves just like ours. That's why we have to work hard and continue to support them. So maybe one day they can make it back out into the wild. Now we did see a few ostrich eggs as well. Those eggs can weigh about 3 pounds each, and an adult person could stand on one and it wouldn't even crack. One of those eggs is equivalent to 2 dozen chicken eggs. Now we are now in the McGaughty Glen, which is home to some of the shyest animals here on the reserve. So keep a very special eye out for them, but it does look a little bit quiet this evening, but it does get kind of bumpy up ahead, so please just hang on nice and tight for me, folks. Now, unfortunately, these gates do lead back into the village, which means our time together is coming to a close. But I hope that you all enjoyed your safari out there this evening in the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. I really hope that you guys got to learn something new, and maybe you got to see your favorite animal too. Now, Harambe does mean come together in Swahili, and there are a whole lot of ways that we can come together to help support these animals at any merchandise location throughout the entire park today. You can make a donation or round up your dollar to the Disney Conservation Fund. All of that goes right back to the animals. Disney matches any amount that you give, and you will get a little commemorative button to show your support no matter how much you give. It really is a great organization that goes to supporting animals all around the world, not just the United States. Now folks, we are going to be approaching the dock up ahead. So this is a really good time to collect all of those personal belongings. Make sure you have everything that you came here with. I would like to say asante sana, that does mean thank you. Come back and visit us again sometime soon, because no two safaris are ever the same. The animals definitely make sure of that. Now I won't leave you with goodbye, it's too sad and it's too final, so instead I'll leave you with kwaherini, which does mean to go well. So hope that you all go well today and have a wonderful rest of your day here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, or wherever your adventures may take you. Thank you so much.